I just got back from a 9-day long silent retreat at the Dharma Center of Canada. This was my ninth Vipassana retreat, and it was absolutely life transforming. I spent 9 days deepening and honing my own meditation practice, and I was able to gain so many deep insights about my own mind, how I'm creating suffering for myself in my own life. And I learned so many little techniques and tricks that I've been using to drastically reduce the amount of suffering that I'm causing myself on a day-to-day basis. And this has just overall made me feel so calm, so peaceful, and so grounded. And the main lesson that I learned, or one of the main lessons, I learned many of them, but a very important one that I learned on this retreat was the importance of slowing down. Now, before I went on this retreat, I was very frantic. Like most people, I was very stuck in my mind, always being pulled around by my thoughts, always chasing the next thing, looking forward into the future, seeing what am I going to do in the next moment? What am I going to do today? What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next week, next year? Always living in the future, in a state of anticipation of the next moment. And after spending 9 days on retreat, one of the really beautiful things about a Vipassana retreat is that you have nothing to look forward to. You're kind of just stuck there at the retreat center and you're meditating all day. So there's nothing to look forward to. There's no movie that you're going to go watch. There's no parties to go to. There's no things to check out on Instagram. There's nothing to do except just to sit and to enjoy the experience of being. And I realized very vividly that I was causing a lot of suffering for myself in my life by constantly living in this state of anticipation, always in a hurry to get things done so that I can move on to the next thing. And I noticed that I wasn't really appreciating the actual unfoldment of each present moment. And that left me feeling very disconnected from the rest of reality. And since I felt so disconnected from my own being, I was always chasing after some kind of experience that was going to make me feel that connection that I was missing. So today I want to talk about how important it is just to slow down your life. And I'm going to be sharing with you a whole list of practices that you can do that I promise you will have a transformative effect on your mind, your happiness, and your well-being if you actually listen through and you implement these practices. And I guarantee you that if you do not take what I'm saying seriously in this video, if you don't slow your life down drastically, then I guarantee you that you will be living in a state of suffering for the rest of your life. If you don't slow yourself down and take time to actually just appreciate the unfoldment of now, then you're actually never going to feel satisfied, and you're never going to get what it is that you actually want. And what you actually want is peace and the ability to surrender and enjoy the natural state of existence, which is here and now. So I'm going to be teaching you many practices, amazing mindfulness practices that are going to make you feel calmer. They're going to give you more emotional mastery. By slowing down, this is going to help you deal with your anxiety, deal with your depression. It's going to help you control your cravings. If you're someone who's having difficulty controlling your addictions or your constant impulse to gratify yourself with entertainment or with food or sex or drugs or whatever it is, this is going to help you a lot. This slowing down is actually also going to make you more attractive. People are going to want to hang out with you. You're going to be more attractive to the opposite sex because it's going to make you more centered and in your own frame, as opposed to being pulled into your mind and pulled into other people's frames and trying to get them to give you connection and love and approval and validation. Slowing your life down is going to make you more grounded and more centered, and that is actually going to attract people towards you because you're not chasing after them, but you're actually letting life come to you. This is also going to increase your sensitivity and your awareness of subtle energies that exist here in the present moment. So you're actually going to be increasing your ability to sense vibrations. You're going to notice that as you slow down your life, as you slow down your actions, you slow down your body and your mind, that's actually going to create more space for you to notice little things that you didn't notice before. You might notice the energy of other people. You might be able to notice when somebody else is holding tension in their body. You might know if they're stuck in their mind or if they're grounded in their heart. And you're just going to be more sensitive to your own body. If you go walk in nature, you'll actually see, you'll be able to see in higher definition. You'll be able to hear more clearly and with more clarity. And overall, what we're doing is as we increase awareness, really what that is, it's like increasing your sensitivity, and it's kind of like boosting the resolution of life. So if you're always stuck in your mind, rushing, anticipating the next thing, then basically you're missing out on the fine details of the present moment. It's like you're living your life with 480p resolution. Right now, as an experiment, you can actually go into the YouTube settings and click, you can put this video into lower resolution, put it in 240p resolution. And then look at my face, and you can see how blocky and how blurry my face looks with 240p resolution. This is basically how you're living your life. You're not connected to the fine details of the present moment because you're just going too fast. You have too many things on your plate. You're too busy anticipating the next moment, so you're not able to enjoy this moment. Now, if you go into the settings and you actually boost the resolution to 1080p resolution, I have a nice camera, so if you boost up to 1080p, you'll actually be able to appreciate the increase in quality, the increase in clarity. Why is it that us guys, if you're a guy who's interested in video games, why is it that us gamers are so addicted to this idea of getting the best graphics? We want our games to have 4K graphics with perfect lighting engines, with perfect anti-aliasing, and we just want our game to look as immersive and as real as possible. This impulse, this is actually a natural impulse. That's why games with really good graphics sell really well, because deep down, every single human being intuitively wants to experience their life with more clarity, with more attention to detail, and with a greater ability to pay attention to the beauty. That's why when we play a video game that has the best graphics, we are just floored and we're in awe with how beautiful it is. Now, what I want to help you do in this video is I want to actually help you increase the graphics of your life. And I'm telling you that if you do some of these practices that's going to help boost your awareness, it's almost going to seem like the literal resolution of your life is increasing. And I'm telling you, it's crazy. Which is why when people do psychedelics like mushrooms or LSD, in a lot of cases, people report the ability to see further or to see, to zoom in their vision with more detail. The reason why is because if your awareness increases, literally what that means is you're paying more attention to the fine details of the now, and that actually allows you to see more detail. All right. Also, these practices are going to help you escape the endless cycle of suffering, which we're going to talk about how the mind creates suffering for itself and how this is a cycle. And by slowing down, pausing in your life, I'm going to teach you how to pause. You're going to be able to create some detachment, to create some space so that you can actually see how you are creating your own suffering. This is going to help you just find satisfaction and enjoyment in the little things in life. So you're no longer going to be chasing the most tastiest food with the most spices and the most flavors. You're no longer going to be chasing the most exhilarating and sensually titillating experiences with as much stimulation as possible, instead of chasing after the most juicy, the most sugary, the most titillating experiences. You're going to be able to gain a lot of enjoyment just from basic things. So instead of always needing to eat a hamburger with all kinds of mayo and fatty and really unhealthy and tasty toppings on it, instead you'll actually get a lot more enjoyment by eating more simple food like plain rice or salad. And you're not going to be craving the fatty, greasy, salty food, but actually you're going to enjoy the more plain and simple food. And that's going to help you enjoy reality more And that's also going to help you be more healthy. So instead of always needing to play an addicting video game that is activating all the areas of your brain and lighting up all your primal instincts, instead of having to play that game, if you slow your life down, you'll actually gain more enjoyment from just sitting down on the couch and reading a book. The reason why many people in our society are so uneducated about how life works and how their mind works and how happiness works, the reason why is because they're just too bored to actually sit down and read a book. It's too boring for them. It's not titillating enough for them. So if you can kind of lower your standards for entertainment by slowing your life down, then you'll be one of the rare people who can actually gain enjoyment and satisfaction from pouring through a thick and difficult book, which nobody else wants to read. And that's going to give you rare and valuable wisdom, which nobody else has. And also, this is going to make you more creative because you're going to be tapped in to your own being, which is the source of creativity itself. All right, so our society is very fast-paced. With the Industrial Revolution and this spirit of technological advancement, it seems like we're always trying to get more done with more efficiency. We're always trying to optimize every single area of our life so that we can cram more and more things into our schedules. How can I get more extracurriculars in? How can I do more personal development habits? How can I get more time in my day so that I can cram more things in to do? It's like this productivity virus where everyone's trying to be more productive, get more things done, do more, work 16-hour days, hustle culture, get grinding, go to the gym, work out, read books, do meditation, personal development, visualizations, Wim Hof, cold showers. There's all these things to do. A lot of them are great practices. But it's funny because the goal of many of these practices is not doing more things like meditation. The goal of meditation is not to cram it into your schedule to do it as if it's like an action that you have to do. The point of meditation is to stop doing things. The reason why meditation is so important and is such a valuable personal development practice, and why I talk about it in basically every video I make, is because it is the only thing that we do in our lives. If you have the daily practice, which I hope you have the daily practice, when you meditate every day, it's the only time in your day where your only goal is to not have any goals. Just to sit with what is. And this is very important because happiness is not something that exists out in the future. It is something that needs to be cultivated within your own being. You need to train your mind to derive happiness from any moment, as opposed to clinging to certain moments where you have tasty food, or where you have a sexy partner, or where you have an entertaining video game. When I was on my meditation retreat, I noticed that when I'm sitting and meditating, my mind is constantly craving stimulation, constantly craving sex, constantly craving food. Sometimes I would sit down and meditate for 50 minutes, And I swear for 45 of those minutes, I was just fantasizing about sex. Why? And for those 45 minutes, I was just watching my mind crave and crave and crave some type of other moment, which is more sexually stimulating, because I thought that that is what is going to make me happy. But whenever I'm stuck in my mind fantasizing about sensory pleasure, then what I'm not doing is being grounded and paying attention to my own breath. And paying attention to the beauty and magnificence of this present moment here. I have an experiment for you to really grasp the importance of what I'm saying here, because what I'm trying to share with you here in this video is not a concept. It's not an idea that you can add to your list of ideas. This is more of an awareness that I want you to have for yourself. The importance of slowing down. Try this experiment. The next time you go grocery shopping, I want you to give yourself an extra 15 to 30 minutes just to do the shop very slowly. So literally, when you're driving to the grocery store, actually drive the speed limit. There's no rush to get to the grocery store. Drive slowly. If someone behind you's honking, don't worry about it. That's their problem. Just drive the speed limit. Make full stops at the stop sign. Now, I'm being serious here. I'm not joking. This might sound stupid or frivolous. I'm being very, very serious. It's the little things in your life which stack up and make a big difference. So when you get to the grocery store, when you get out of your car, close the door and just take a second, just relax. Okay, I'm at the grocery store. There's no rush. There's no race to get in so you can hurry up and shop. Notice what your mind is doing. You're probably thinking about all the things you need to buy in a hurry, in a rush, listening to music, listening to an audiobook, thinking about this other thing you need to do later in the day after you're done grocery shopping. No. Just grocery shop without thinking about what you're going to do after you're done the shop. So as you walk into the store, walk slowly. There's no rush. Just take a slow walk. Left foot, right foot. Grab your cart. Grab it slowly. There's no rush. There's nowhere you have to be after. If there is somewhere you have to be after, you might be 15 to 30 minutes late, okay? Very important. We're just going to take this time just to grocery shop. So now you're going through the aisles. Go slowly. There's no rush. Pay attention. Look at the apples. Actually, look at them. Oh, this is a nice apple. Where's it from? Oh, this one's from the United States. Cool. Think about how much time and effort it takes for the farmers in the United States to cultivate that apple, to pick it, to put it in a box, to load it onto a truck, and to ship it all the way up to Canada, which is where I live, or to ship it to wherever you live, and then all the workers that have to take the apples out of the box and to put it onto the shelf. Think about how much coordination that takes. So the attitude I want you to have here is, I'm just going to enjoy the process of grocery shopping. Because here's the thing, especially when you're young, I'm 20 years old, it seems like we have all the time in the world to to live, to be alive. And that something like grocery shopping, you've done it 100 times. You already know all there is to know about grocery shopping, and now you just want to make it as efficient and as quick as possible so that you don't have to waste your time in the grocery store. Me personally, I hate wasting my time in the grocery store. I want to just hurry up and get the hell out of there so I can go home and put my food away and actually just eat the food or get to work and do some other important thing like read a book or do my work. But this time, just as an experiment, I want you just to actually enjoy the process of grocery shopping. Imagine you are an 80-year-old person and that this is the last grocery shop that you will ever do on planet Earth. There's no rush. This is your last day on Earth. Actually appreciate the miracle of a grocery store. It's pretty awesome. If you invented a time machine and you went back in time and you took someone from 1,000 years ago and you brought them into a modern day grocery shop, that 1,000-year-old person would be absolutely in awe. That we have every single fruit, dragon fruits, kiwi, star fruit, pineapples. We have all these things in our grocery store, all in one place. 1,000 years ago, you had to travel 5 days on horseback just to get yourself a pineapple. So what I'm saying here, this might sound like a tangent. It's not. This is the attitude of appreciating the magnificence and interconnectedness of every single moment. If you want to glimpse infinity, you can do it in any moment. Every single moment, including this moment right now, is infinitely complex. There isn't some later time where you're going to grasp the beauty and profundity of now. You're not going to get enlightened in the future if you read enough books or if you meditate enough in the future. You're going to get enlightened by realizing that this moment now is enlightenment. So as you're in the grocery store and you're very slow, no rush at all, listening to the grocery store music, slowly enjoying your life with not a care in the world, notice the energy of the other people. You'll probably come across a couple people in the grocery store that are in a serious hurry to leave. Some people will blow past you with their carriage as if this is like Formula One racing, where they're in a rush. They gotta get to the steak section so they can hurry up, pick out a steak. They're in a rush. They got all kinds of things to do. And many people have families. Many people have jobs. Many people, they have just things to do. They can't afford to spend an hour in the grocery store. They got a life to live, right? So they're in a hurry. They're in a rush. They're anticipating what they need to do after the grocery store. They got to get the food so they can go home and make dinner for their family that's waiting for them. So I'm not saying these people are bad or unconscious. I'm just saying pay attention to their rushed energy. And notice that in that rushed state, you're suffering. And that you're actually fundamentally disconnected from the beauty of now. And that if you live your entire life in this rushed, frantic state where you're anticipating the next moment, your entire life will fly by. like this? How many older people have told you, hey, take your time in life because it goes by like this? Yes, it really does go by like this. Today, I'm 21. It seems like yesterday I was 20 and the day before I was 19. Life really does fly by. And the one thing that you will regret when you're old and gray is that you didn't take more time just to stop and smell the roses. You're really going to regret being in this state of consciousness where you're always worried about not having enough time, not having enough money, not having enough food, not having enough sex. There's not enough in this moment. I need to hurry up and get more. This state of consciousness is the root cause of your suffering and the root cause of all of humanity's suffering. So, when you're in the grocery store, you are like the antidote you are the universe. So what you are going to do to help alleviate this mass suffering, this virus of anticipation, always waiting when chasing after the next moment or running away from the unpleasantness of the current moment. That's what most people are doing. You are the antidote. You are going to be the one person in that grocery store that is fully enjoying themselves. Fully connected to your breath, fully grounded in your feet. Not in your head, just in your feet. Your actual mental energy won't be stuck in your head and your thoughts thinking, but instead you're actually just going to be paying attention to the sensation of your breath and the groundedness of your feet. And you are going to do the best grocery shop that has ever been done by any human being on earth. And this might sound like a stupid experiment or a pointless experiment. But something as simple as doing an impeccable grocery shop with full consciousness and awareness, that is going to plant a seed in your heart that is slowly over time, over 5 years, 10 years, slowly is going to blossom into a beautiful flower of awakening. The spiritual path is really not about getting enlightened one day, but it's about appreciating and enjoying now. So the truth is that all human beings are suffering because we have inherited this ancestral conditioning of the always worrying about survival. So 99% of Earth's human beings are in a state of consciousness, which is an egotistical state of consciousness, which means it's always thinking about survival, me. Thinking, I am separate from this universe. I need to get ahead. If I can work hard enough, if I can grocery shop fast enough, if I can get the best prices, if I can butt my way ahead the other people in line, then somehow I'm going to get ahead and I'm going to survive. Now this conditioning is not bad. It is actually what has helped us get here. All of your ancestors have had this mindset of I need to get ahead. And that is what allowed them to survive and pass on their genes so that you can be alive today. So let's just send some gratitude, not just to your human ancestors, but even to your ape ancestors, even to your reptile ancestors, even to your fish ancestors. All of existence, all of life, evolution is predicated upon survival, getting ahead, getting advantages, always worrying about falling behind, being in a rush, in a hurry. Because if you're not in a hurry, you might miss the opportunity to get food and you might literally die. So this is survival conditioning. That's not just your conditioning, but this is the conditioning of all of existence. Your biology is literally programmed with this need to survive, this need to be in a rush, to worry about getting enough resources. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that nowadays in our society, we've done a pretty good job of solving our survival needs. You don't always need to be worried about getting enough food. There will almost always be food in the grocery store when you go. There's no chance that they will run out of food. They almost always have food when you go there. You don't need to be worried about your survival needs. Now, don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm still saying survival is important. Working on your career is important. Being productive is important. Making money is important. These things are all important. They need to be done. But they do not need to be done in the rushed, frantic way that we're used to doing them. Instead, let's inject some consciousness and some awareness into our work, into our career, into our grocery shopping, getting food, making money. And we're going to be talking about how to do these a little bit later when I get into the practices. So most people are living their life not in a state of being, but instead in a state of doing. So you're not actually being present, but instead you're doing actions. And this fundamentally is holding yourself as separate from the rest of existence. And here is the fundamental thing. The funniest thing is that all human beings are craving happiness. All human beings, all beings, not just human beings, even animals, even insects, all of them are craving happiness. They're craving satisfaction and fulfillment, which only comes from being fully connected to the entire universe, from literally living with a heart full of love and compassion for all beings. Because when you realize that you are connected to the entire universe, you realize that there is no separation between you and your mom, between you and your dad, between you and that black person, between you and that white person, between you and that Muslim person, between you and that conservative, that liberal. There fundamentally is no separation. We all want the same thing. Happiness, peace, freedom from suffering, freedom from the need to chase and chase and chase and chase. Why do we do all this chasing? We chase so that in hopes one day we can stop chasing. Why do you chase after sex? Not because you want the sex, but because you want to stop wanting the sex. Because when you have the sex, you don't want it anymore. So you're trying to relinquish the desire because the desire itself is uncomfortable. So we think we want sex. No, really what you want is the freedom from wanting sex. And that's what every single human being wants. Here's the thing. We are trying to get peace and happiness by doing the wrong things. You can't get peace and happiness by getting a Rolls-Royce car, by getting an expensive watch, by increasing the profits of your business, by getting more approval and love from your peers, by getting a nicer house. These things won't bring you more happiness and fulfillment. Now, again, I always need to add the disclaimer, yes, the basic needs are very important, and it is important to learn how to skillfully make money so that you don't always have to be worrying about not having enough. So that is important, and I do talk about that on my channel, and I'll make more videos about making income. That's important, something I've had to invest lots of time and money learning how to do. So that's important. However, once you have solved your basic needs, getting more nicer cars. So if you already have a car, right, and it works, getting a nicer car won't actually make you happy. This is a deep emotional confusion. Your actual being is confused about how happiness works. And no amount of me talking is going to fix this problem for you. No amount of reading books or listening to teachers is going to fix this problem for you. That helps at the beginning just to get your mind right. Because most people don't even have their mind right. People don't even know that getting a nicer car isn't going to make them fundamentally happier. Most people don't even know that intellectually. So the first step is to know it intellectually. But really, that's not enough. Really, you need to really grasp this directly in your awareness. You need to actually see that if I can just be satisfied with the now, then a lot of the things that I thought I needed will fall away. And these are some of the practices that you can do to actually gain this experiential awareness for yourself, not just adding more ideas and philosophies to your collection of ideas. All right, so let's get into the practices. The first main practice that is going to help you slow down the pace of your life is just to practice daily meditation. Starting with 20 minutes per day of meditation, and what that involves is just sitting down in a comfortable posture and taking 20 minutes just to pay attention to your breath, the rising of the breath and the falling of the breath. Pay attention to the movement of your stomach. The stomach moves when you breathe in, and the stomach falls when you breathe out. And this is very boring. We're not used to doing this. Normally, we're used to playing video games and watching movies and talking to our friends and smoking weed and watching porn. That's a lot of stimulation. So now when we spend 20 minutes with no stimulation at all, just focusing on the breath, what you'll notice is that the mind is craving. Craving thoughts will come. Craving entertainment. Craving to scratch the itch on your nose. Craving to sit differently. Craving to think about something you watched on YouTube. These cravings will arise, and your job, just for 20 minutes, is just to notice how many cravings you have. Notice this. This isn't bad. The craving itself isn't bad. It's just an old habit that you have that will naturally unwire itself if you just spend enough time watching it and giving it love and attention. So just pay attention to what your mind does when you sit down and do nothing. This is so important because we're actually making space. Instead of being in the mind and being at the mercy of our own thoughts, where we're just being pulled along the string of chasing after pleasure and running away from displeasure, the meditation is a period that you set aside daily that allows you just to step off of that train of seeking and just to watch, just to create some space for being. So start with 20 minutes of focusing on the breath with the intention of increasing to 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, up to 1 hour per day. These days, I'm meditating for 2 hours every day. It's possible. 1 hour a day is possible, regardless of how busy you are, how much schoolwork you have, all your family commitments, your work commitments. 1 hour a day is possible. It's just a matter of priorities and seeing the importance of why we do it, which is one of the reasons why I make these videos, is just to help you understand why we do it so that you can be motivated to do it. All right, the next practice is go on a silent retreat. I recommend a Vipassana retreat. And this will really, really help you gain a head start for your meditation practice. Now, many people have trouble sticking to the daily meditation practice because in the beginning, it takes too long for you to start to see results. You need to stick with it for a month in order to start to see the results of daily meditation. Many people aren't able to do that. So if you really want to just get like a head start, a boost in your meditation practice, then book yourself a 5-day silent Vipassana retreat where you just spend 5 days meditating all day. And they teach you, the teachers will teach you why it's important and how to do it properly. There are Vipassana retreats all over the world, so do some Googling. Take the time off work, invest the couple $100 that it costs, and actually book it into your calendar and go. I promise you, your life will change. At this point in my life, I'm 21. I've already done over 10 meditation retreats, and every single time, it is always super worth it, okay? At this point, I've invested thousands of dollars of my own money into meditation retreats, and people say, hey, where should I invest my money? Bitcoin? What stock should I invest my money in? Where should I put my money? Put your money into yourself, okay? Invest in your own education. Invest in a meditation retreat. All right? It will pay you dividends for the rest of your life. So the next practice is just doing things slowly. In our busy lives, this is really where the rubber meets the road. This is how we integrate awareness into our daily lives. This is how we live in awareness. Because really, 1 hour a day of meditation isn't enough. This awareness that you're cultivating actually needs to permeate your everyday life. So, whenever we're doing activities such as brushing your teeth and flossing, I hope you guys floss, it's very important. These activities, you can actually gain a lot of spiritual growth just by brushing your teeth and paying attention to the actual experience of brushing your teeth. Do it mindfully. Do it well. Brush well. Actually get all the areas of your mouth. Many of us brush our teeth thinking about how we need to hurry up and brush our teeth so that we can go do the next thing in our life. How about you just brush your teeth slowly? A little hack that I heard actually is that you can actually brush your teeth with your left hand, or you use your non-dominant hand to brush your teeth. It'll feel really weird at first, but what this does is it actually forces you to be mindful while you do it. And it actually helps to stimulate new neural connections just by brushing your teeth with your left hand. That's just a little tip. Also, when you floss, make sure you get in between all your teeth. Now, this seems like stupid. This seems like I'm giving you dentistry advice. Generally, it's good advice. Obviously, keep your teeth clean, but this is a mindfulness thing. So instead of being in a rush, do it slowly, do it well. The same is true for opening and closing doors. So one thing that is so powerful about Vipassana retreats is that you're meditating all day, and in your break times, you're still being mindful. So even when you're walking to go use the bathroom, you're walking consciously. You're walking slowly. You're paying attention to your feet as you're walking. As you go to open the door, you're pausing before you open the door. You're noticing the intention that you have to open the door. You're noticing the movement of your arm. You're noticing the touching of the door handle. You're noticing the twisting of the handle, the opening of the door, the releasing of the handle, the moving into the room, the closing the door behind you in a gentle and mindful way where you're actually paying attention to every single movement. Now, why are we doing this? Why? The thing is that the root cause of your suffering is not something that you can get rid of just by thinking about it. You really, really need to slow your mind down so that you can start to notice little things, little subtle things. You won't notice how you're creating your own suffering unless you slow your mind down. Vipassana, or insight meditation, is also, Vipassana means direct seeing. So it's not about thinking about what I'm doing, but it's about directly being aware of what is in my present experience. Not conceptualizing about it, but seeing it directly. So for an experience of this, if you look at your own hand, see your hand directly. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to theorize or philosophize about what your hand is. Just see it directly as it is here. You don't even need to think this is my hand. Just look. Don't think this is a human being who has a hand. Don't think this is Adam's hand. Just look at what it is. What is it? This is direct seeing. And only by seeing directly can you see what the cause of suffering is. The cause of some suffering is prior to words. It's prior to concepts. So if you live your whole life identified with mind energy, always in your thoughts, stuck in your thoughts, thinking, conceptualizing, mapping out your life, then you're disconnected from what is prior to thoughts, which is just being. Being is here, and you don't need to think about it for it to be here. So if you want to solve this root cause of suffering, if you want to transcend suffering, if you want to liberate yourself, if you want to actually attain freedom, which, by the way, is already what you want, everything you do in your life is trying to attain freedom. The reason why you go to school, go to work, talk to your friends, do anything is because you want to be free. The problem is you're doing it the wrong way. You need to connect to being to see what is the root cause of suffering. And what is required is to slow your mind down. If you do a Vipassana retreat, you will see that after meditating for 12 hours a day, your mind is like molasses. It moves very slowly. It's extremely grounded in the present moment. And only with this slow mind are we able to pay attention to the fine details of the now. And only then can you see the root cause of suffering, which is something that's very subtle. It's not obvious. So it's almost like if you're watching a movie and there's an Easter egg in the movie, but it's only there for a couple frames. Normally, if you're just watching the movie full speed, you won't look for the Easter egg, you'll never see it. But if you want to slowly pay attention to the movie to see that little secret hidden message in the movie, then you might need to put the movie in slow motion. And you'll actually see the movie frame by frame by frame, and only then will you actually be able to notice for that split second that little Easter egg that pops up in the background of the movie. And the same is true for your mind. You'll never notice what the root cause of suffering is unless you slow your mind down so much that you're able to catch that split second of when you are craving for something that is not actually here in the present moment. The root cause of suffering is selfish attachment to any part of reality. Selfish attachment to ideas, concepts, experiences, emotions, body, attachment to being a certain way, and even attachment to not being any way at all. Selfish attachment is the root cause of suffering. But hearing me say that does you no service. You need to grasp it over and over and over and over and over and over again over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So these practices I'm telling you here in this video, this isn't something that you can do this weekend that's going to fix your whole life. This is a lifelong commitment where we're slowly putting in effort every day just to slow down, so that over the long haul, these moments of slowing down are going to compound, and they're going to create a beautiful tower of awakening, or whatever analogy you want to use. So other good areas to do more slowly are just walking. When you're walking to school, you're walking to work, just take an extra 5 minutes. Just walk slower. You're not going to miss anything. Just go slow. Go slower. There's no rush. You'll actually appreciate your life a lot more by walking slowly. Also, driving. Driving's a big one. Seems like everyone on the road is in a rush. Try actually just driving the speed limit. I wonder if you can do it. Instead of going 10 over, 20 over, always being in a rush to go where you need to go, why don't you just drive the speed limit? And as you're slowing down, notice if there is a pull to go faster. Notice that pull. So as let's say the speed limit is 60 kilometers, if you go 60, notice if there's a pull to go 70. And don't feed into it, just watch it. Watch that pull. What is that pull? What's wrong with 60? Why do you need to go 70? That pull to go 70 is the root cause of all suffering. What is that? Pay attention. Also, you can do this for doing chores, doing the laundry. A lot of Zen monasteries, they put a lot of emphasis on doing chores consciously. There's a saying, a Zen saying, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, do the laundry. So it's just saying enlightenment is not separate from your daily chores. Many of us are just trying to hurry up and get our chores done so that we can go be happy in the future. But what if you could be happy while you're doing the chores? What if you could put your clothes away slowly, fold them nicely? I'm just going to check my camera, see if I'm still recording here. Yeah, we're still recording. What about when you're washing the dishes? Wash them slowly. Sweeping the floor. There's no rush. Also, eating is a big one. Eat slower. Take an extra 10 minutes to eat. Many people, I used to be one of them, we eat too fast to the point where you don't even get to enjoy the meal. I heard that in France, they actually, on average, take an extra like 30 minutes to finish their meals because it's a cultural thing that they actually eat slower. And there's actually, I think the body mass index in France, there's a lot lower rate of obesity compared to other European countries. And that's because of this cultural thing where they actually enjoy the food. It's like they actually take it slow. It's actually rude if you eat fast. Eating slowly is just appreciating the moment. And I think that's a very good habit that you can implement into your life. Chew your food. Chew it. It actually helps with digestion. Your saliva helps to break down carbs. That actually will help you digest better. And you get to taste the food longer. I remember one of my friend's brothers. I remember we were all eating burritos. And I was eating my burrito and I noticed that I finished my burrito way quicker than he did. He still had half his burrito left. And I was like, hey, why are you eating so slow? He's like, because you're not eating anymore and I still got a burrito. So it's like he actually stretched out his burrito by eating it slower. He got to enjoy more burrito. Right? So even when you're eating, notice the pull. If you already have food in your mouth, you don't need to go take another bite. Finish chewing the food you already have in your mouth before you take the other bite. And this goes into the next exercise, which is take a pause when you notice you're going too fast. So if you notice that you're eating too quickly, actually put your fork down on the table and sit there for 30 seconds. In fact, I challenge you to do a 30-second pause with me. All right, so on this video here, don't go anywhere. Don't click off. Just see if you can just pause for 30 seconds. I'm not going to talk, and see what happens. Ready? Go. How was that? Did you notice any craving to have me keep talking, or to click on another video, or to check your phone, or to look around the room, to pick up a book? Maybe many of you found it relaxing, actually, because we don't take enough pauses in our life. So insert a pause. When I was on the retreat, whenever I'd walk to dinner, they'd have dinner at a certain time. Whenever I'd go walk to dinner, I'd walk very slowly. And whenever I noticed myself overly anticipating the food, trying to get to the dinner house so that I could be happy in the future moment, whenever I noticed myself rushing to get there so I can eat, I would actually stop walking. I'd actually literally stop in my tracks and stand there for 20 seconds, just to be like, hey, there's no rush to get there. You're here now. When you get there, you'll get there. But you won't be any happier while you're eating than you are now. If you can't be happy now, you won't be happy when you're eating. See what we're doing here? We're trying to unwire the need to get to the next moment. Because the problem is that if you're always trying to get to the next moment, even when you finally get the nice moment where you're on the beach with your friends and you're swimming in the beautiful water, even when you finally get to that beautiful, perfect moment, your mind will still be infected with the toxic habit of chasing after the next thing. So even when you're on the beach relaxing, you won't even be able to relax. You'll still be chasing the next moment because you haven't invested enough time and energy in unwiring this craving urge. That's why many rich people who have millions and millions of dollars, they're always buying new things, a bigger yacht, a more expensive car, a better restaurant, a longer vacation, a nicer hotel. I've been much happier than many human beings will ever feel in their whole life. Just by sitting in a small little room on a small cushion, just paying attention to my own breath. I've felt much more bliss, ecstasy, peace, and satisfaction sitting in my little room than many millionaires and billionaires feel sitting in their gigantic mansion. Now, there's nothing wrong with beautiful houses. If you have a beautiful house, good for you. I love beautiful houses. That's awesome. I aspire to have one day. But I'm not going to trick myself into thinking that that house is what's going to bring me happiness. Because I've had experiences where I'm sitting doing nothing in a small little room and feeling totally fully connected to the entire universe. The next habit is to contemplate your death. Actually realize that you're going to die and live as if you are an 80-year-old man or woman. Live as if you're old. Have you ever noticed that older people tend to appreciate the little things in life a lot more? They tend to stop and smell the flowers. They tend to pay more attention to the enjoyment of little children. Because when you have no choice but to face your own death, there was a beautiful quote by Treya Williams, who was Ken Wilber's wife, who passed away because she had cancer. I definitely recommend watching the movie Grace and Grit. It's a really beautiful movie. Ken Wilber wrote a book about it. He's one of the best philosophers of our generation. His wife died of cancer, and while she was still alive, she gave a speech. She said famously, "Because I can no longer ignore death, I pay more attention to life." So in what ways can you connect yourself to your death on a daily basis? Remember that this life here won't go on forever. There is no rush to get to the next moment. Every step you take, regardless of which direction you're taking it in, is one step closer to your grave. And in the future, I'll actually make a whole video talking about contemplating your own death, because it's something that a lot of people shy away from. We spend our whole lives running away from this idea that we're going to die. Whereas the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, he talks about memento mori, remember death. Allegedly, Marcus Aurelius actually hired a person. He was the emperor of Rome. He actually hired a person to follow him around during the day. And every once in a while, just come up behind him and whisper in his ear, memento mori. Remember, you will die. And that's why Marcus Aurelius' book, The Meditations, which was the first personal development book I ever read, I recommend it, is still around 2,000 years later, because this is timeless wisdom. Remember, you will die. Pay more attention to life. Now I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to change my camera battery. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be giving you even more awesome practices for how to slow your life down and raise your awareness. All right, so the next practice is to spend more time in nature. And this is something that's very important for me personally, and I think is important for all human beings because we are part of nature. So I think every single human being has some kind of appreciation for the beauty of nature. And if you really want to slow your mind down so that you can appreciate the little things in life, so that you can glimpse the root cause of suffering and eventually transcend it into liberation, then spending time in nature is a really good way just to appreciate the beauty of now. If there's any conservation areas near where you live, any parks, then go explore them. Get really intimate with nature. Go to the park, take your shoes off. I don't know why this is so important, but for me personally, taking my shoes off and standing on the grass is indispensable practice that just helps me relax, calm down, connect to the ground, connect to being barefoot on the grass. Very important. If you've never done that before, make it a habit. It's awesome. But if you can go to a beautiful nature area, I moved out here in a place in Ontario where I have beautiful nature trails near me, which was a strategic move because I love nature. And I love just going out into the forest and just listening to the birds, looking at the leaves, looking at the mushrooms, wink wink, looking at the flowers, looking at the insects, the squirrels, the deer. Sometimes I see deer. I love seeing deer. Connecting to nature really helps put you in your senses more. So go to a nice conservation area, take your shoes off, and just walk slowly. And just look around. Appreciate the little things. And another practice you can do is to zoom in. So actually take a blade of grass, pick it, and actually look really closely. Like extremely closely. Closer than you've ever looked at a blade of grass. Look as closely as you possibly can. Try and see the actual fibers of the grass. Be curious. Actually be curious. This is what it all comes down to. I was reading a book from Namgyal Rinpoche. He says, one of the main factors that causes beings to attain enlightenment is just curiosity. Just give the present moment your attention. That's the whole point of this video. That's the whole point of everything I'm saying. Pay attention to the now because you will find that it's fucking amazing. Take a blade of grass, rip it apart, look at it. Well, just try and see if you can see the cells of the grass. There's no way you can. Look at it, smell it. Dig your fingernails into it. See what kind of texture it has. Feel it. Be curious. What the hell is grass? How did my own consciousness create something as complex and beautiful as this blade of grass? Look at a leaf. Look at the veins of the leaf. Notice the patterns. Notice the patterns in nature. You'll start to see one pattern I want you to look out for is the pattern of branching. You'll see almost everything in nature has this tendency to branch off into smaller and smaller parts. So if you look at the trees, obviously they have branches, but then you can even look at the veins of the leaf. The veins of the leaf have branches. If you look at the veins in your body, if you look at your actual lungs, the alveoli in your lungs, they look like literally like branches. If you zoom out, if you look at Google Maps and you see rivers from a bird's eye view, you see the rivers branch off into smaller rivers. Why does existence branch like this? Notice the pattern. This is the pattern of one thing splitting off into two things. If you know about non-duality, then you'll understand why that's so profound. One thing splitting off into two things. And that's what all of existence is. Also, another practice, give yourself rest days. So literally, one trap that I used to fall into is that I would work every single day. Every day I would try and get stuff done. But what that leads to is burnout, where I'd feel tired and I'd actually crash, and then it would actually cause me to avoid doing work, and it would actually make me less productive. So if you're someone who's stumbling into creative blocks, if you are someone who's having trouble just getting clarity and perspective in your life, then give yourself a rest day. I recommend taking 2 days off every week. That's why we have the weekend. So on the weekend, actually rest. That you don't have to be on your phone all day. You don't have to play video games all day. Just take a day where you don't have anything planned. You don't have anything to do. You have no obligations. And that leads us into the next point, where many people will say, okay, Adam, it's great for you to say you're a 21-year-old guy. You're not busy. Not like me. I have a family, I have kids, I have work, I have school, I have all these things. I don't have the luxury of slowing down. Well, yeah, I can empathize with that. I understand when I was in grade 11, I would go to school all day, and then I had rugby practice after, then I had all kinds of homework to do, and still I would have to find time to meditate for 2 hours a day. And it was difficult, very difficult. Some days I couldn't do it, but sometimes I'd have to go to work after school and rugby and still have to meditate 2 hours per day. So I empathize. It's difficult. But it's a matter of priorities, and also it's a matter of systematically cutting out the fat of your life. So if you feel like you're swamped with extracurriculars, maybe you can take less hours, do less things. Give yourself more space and more time just to do nothing. If you're volunteering for something, okay, that's cool. But if you notice that it's taking away from your time just to sit and to rest and be by yourself, maybe you would be of more service to the world if you actually rest in your own being, as opposed to filling up your schedule with all these tasks. So one thing I did was I didn't play rugby in the later years of my schooling, so that I would have more time just to read and to meditate. And I don't regret that. Sometimes I wish I played more rugby, but in general, I don't regret slowing down my life, because that has given me exponential results, which I'm tasting the fruits of today, where I just feel calm and good, and I just feel relaxed. And I have the ability to help other people do that as well, and that's invaluable. That's something you can't buy. That's something you need to work for. So trim the fat off your day. Stop doing so many things, okay? Some things you think that you can't cut out, a lot of them you'd be surprised you could live without. And give yourself free time. Free time is a commodity. Many people think that money is the best resource. I say free time is the best resource, because one of the benefits of having a lot of money is that you get to do what you want. So give yourself that time just to have nothing to do. nothing planned, no obligations. Just hang out, do nothing the whole day. And on one of those days where you have nothing planned, you can try psychedelics. So I always recommend that you're very good at meditation, or at least feel comfortable meditating for 30 minutes per day before you dive into psychedelics. Because ever since I've been making psychedelic videos, I realized that all kinds of people think that psychedelics are some kind of magic pill that are going to cure their anxiety and their depression without them having to actually put in any hard work. And that's the magic pill mentality that our society feeds us with. And I hate to break it to you, but if you think that you're going to cure your anxiety and depression by doing mushrooms, in a lot of cases, it'll actually aggravate it and make it worse. So if you do plan on using psychedelics, make sure you're using them in conjunction with all the other practices that I'm giving you here. As I talk about in my video, Beginner Magic Mushroom Mistakes, requires a holistic solution. Another practice is just to leave your phone at home. Sometimes when you go out for a walk, just don't bring your phone with you. Just walk. When was the last time you went for a walk without your phone? It's an awesome practice. It's actually very grounding, gives you a lot of solitude, a lot of peace of mind, a lot of time to think about and clarify all of the messy portions of your life. And even, let's say you're at the grocery store and you're waiting in line. The other day I was at the grocery store. There was a long lineup. Literally, it took me like 10 minutes just to get cashed out. There was a massive lineup. Like wrapping around the whole store. It was a really long lineup. And I was practicing this, what I'm telling you here, and I didn't check my phone. I just waited in line, and it was actually okay. It was actually a good time for me to practice meditation. Just stand there. There's no rush. There's nowhere to be, nowhere to go. Sometimes I actually like waiting in line because it helps me just relax, surrender. There's nothing to do. Just gotta wait. And the last practice that works oddly well is that notice when you're in this state of doing, where you're constantly chasing the next thing, what is happening actually is that your energy, what it's doing is that it's kind of like a forward circle. So if you can imagine like a forward circle, that's happening up in your mind, and it's like you're always kind of looking and looking and looking and looking, and you're kind of like chasing after the next thing. It's like a hamster in a wheel kind of energy that you have, that many people have. Try this right now. Imagine as you breathe that there's actually a circle of energy moving up in front of you, above your head, a backward circle. So it's moving up in front of you, above your head, down below, down your back, under your feet, and then back up in front of you, up above your head, back below your feet. So it's like a backward circle. And as an exercise, what you can do is walk around as if you're waiting to do the next thing. So walk around as if you're looking for something. So literally walk around your house as if you're like about to do something, as you normally would. And pay attention to the forward circle of energy. And then, after you do that for a couple minutes, now walk around your house and do this imagination exercise of imagining a backward circle of energy flowing up in front of you, above your head, and back. And notice how that changes your posture. Notice how that changes your facial expression. Notice how that changes your breath and your mindscape as well. You'll notice a lot more calm and more grounded. So whenever you feel like you're in a rush, take a pause, do some backward circles. It actually helps a lot. All right. So that's all I have for you today. Those are all the practices. I think I'm going to end the video off here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wasn't able to upload these last 2 weeks because I was on retreat, but now I'm back. So you can expect a few more videos from me upcoming within the next week. We're going to be talking about all sorts of awesome things. I mentioned the contemplating death video that's going to be on the way. All of the videos I'm making here are made with the purpose of actually helping you transcend into a higher level of awareness and consciousness. So ultimately what I'm doing here on this channel is I want to get you out of the doing mindset, the egotistical survival-based mindset where you're always worried, always anxious, always depressed, always distracted, always stuck on the content of your experience, but not paying attention to what experience actually is. So I want to help you move from needy perception to being perception. Being perception is when we actually ground in the present moment and we're able to actually investigate what is the present moment. How did it get here? How does it work? What's going on now? How does my mind work? How do other people's minds work? How does society work? How does happiness work? How does making money work? But we're not looking at these topics from a what's in it for me perspective, a needy perspective. We're looking at it from a perspective of just understanding how it works, just for the sake of understanding. Because that's valuable. That's how you build yourself a solid foundation in your life, by cultivating a deep understanding of all of these topics. Many people just look for quick fix solutions. How can I make a little bit of money quickly? But they don't understand that that's a flimsy way to build wealth for yourself. If you want to build wealth, you need to understand deeply many different aspects of life. You need to understand psychology. You need to understand marketing, business. You need to understand passion, happiness, all kinds of things that all interconnect together. And that's what I'm interested in learning about. That's what I've been investing so much time and energy learning about. The person that really, my mentor that really helps me a lot is Leo Gura from actualize.org. He makes awesome content about these topics here. Go check out his videos. They're awesome. And just giving credit where it's due. And also, I'm on this process myself and I'm making these connections as well. And that's what I'm passionate about talking about here on these videos. So stay tuned. I got awesome videos about transcending suffering, understanding your own mind, how it works, raising your consciousness, and then injecting that raised consciousness into every single aspect of your life, into your career, into your relationships, into your health, into your politics, into your understanding of science, into your understanding of spirituality, your understanding of life as a whole. So I'm interested in, on the one hand, helping you raise your consciousness. That's why these practices are so important to do. And then on the other hand, helping you use this higher consciousness to become a vehicle and an instrument of spirit. And that's what I'm doing for myself. And that's what I want to help you do for yourself as well. If you'd like to talk to me one-on-one, what you can do is you can find me on Instagram at Adam_Miceli. Send me a message. Hey, Adam, I love your videos. And I'd like a one-on-one coaching call with you. And I'll give you a free call only for a limited time. I'm doing that because I can't give everyone free calls. But for now, I have a couple more spots for new clients. So for free, I can just totally help you with your life, give you a plan, make you help you get more clear about what it is you want, where you're moving, and then we'll create a plan together. And if you want to work together longer term, then we'll talk about how that looks like on the call. All right. That being said, stay tuned, subscribe, leave this video a comment, helps the algorithm, and keep your eyes open because I got new videos coming out within the next week. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.